Our personal experience tells us that being stressed about money is a very common worry, and for good reason. Grim numbers support this observation. Over half of our fellow Americans, around 51%, are statistically likely to outlive their savings. If this is the land of plenty, how is it that less than 8% of Americans are millionaires? And it's easy to get discouraged, but if you hang with me for a few minutes, I'll explain how to move from stress to financially secure. The good news is that most people can achieve financial security if they can learn to develop emotional discipline. So why is this so important? Because the default setting for most people is avoidance. We avoid painful things, including looking closely at our financial situation. And this can prevent us from taking the necessary action to improve it. That's the hard truth. By the way, I'm James Harrington, and I'll share some information about myself a little later on in this video. But good emotional temperament is needed for successful investing. This isn't just my opinion. Great investors like Warren Buffett credit their success to emotional temperament, not IQ. Second, it is well established that avoidance is a common human response, but it can be overcome. I did it, and you can too if that's a problem for you. And to illustrate avoidance, let's take watching YouTube videos as an example. Now tell me if this rings true. The people who most need to learn this skill will either not click on a video like this, or if they did, they've already clicked away to something more entertaining. In other words, they're avoiding the topic. If you're still here, you're already well ahead of the curve. And by the way, I admit that I'm not the most dynamic speaker, so that's something I'll work on, but I apologize in advance. Now, my point about avoidance is that it's very common. It shows up as not facing one's financial condition. Building emotional discipline requires that we break free of this mindset. And it can be fixed, but it does take effort to do so. Now, let me share some background about myself with you. I started out like most people. I was eager to get a job and start earning money, but I quickly found that I wasn't really making much progress in building wealth. Around my mid-20s or so, I didn't have any experience with investing, but I read a lot of information and books on investing. Unfortunately, I got hold of some bad advice as well. So I was a student of the school of hard knocks, and I don't recommend it for anyone. But the point is that fortunately, I survived all that, my mistakes, and I ultimately achieved financial security. But looking back, I could have reached financial freedom sooner with less effort and with less pain if I knew then what I know now. So what exactly is it that I know now? Well, it's not about complex technical analysis, nor is it about any aspect of the mechanics of investing. It's about learning emotional discipline. So what does that look like? It means having the will to take that first step in your financial journey. It means having the discipline to look honestly at your spending habits, to create and follow a financial plan. And most importantly, to ignore the noise of the market, to ignore those market doomsayers that are out there that are pushing you to sell when you shouldn't be selling. So emotional discipline is the essential requirement to achieve financial security. And I want to use this channel to talk about the challenges of building wealth from an emotional discipline standpoint. I'll also share my thoughts on recent financial news. The goal of this channel is to help you safely build wealth and to protect it. If this subject interests you, I would love for you to subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if there's a topic you would like for me to address. And thanks for watching.